Hi, my name is Eleni Delopoulos, and I'm reading Chapter 18, Penelope. It's Molly Bloom. They're all so different. Bolin talking about the shape of my foot. He noticed it once, even before he was introduced. When I was in the DBC with Poldy laughing and trying to listen, I was waggling my foot. We both ordered 2 teas and plain bread and butter. I saw him looking, with his 2 old maids of sisters. When I stood up and asked the girl where it was, what do I care with it dropping out of me, and that black closed breeches he made me buy, takes you half an hour to let them down. Wetting all myself, always with some brand new fad every other week. Such a long one I did. I forgot my suede gloves on the seat behind. That I never got after some robber of a woman. And he wanted me to put it in the Irish Times, lost in the ladies' lavatory, DBC Dame Street. Find a return to Miss Marion Bloom. And I saw his eyes on my feet, going through the turning door. He was looking when I looked back, and I went there for tea 2 days after in hope. But he wasn't. Now, how did that excite him? Because I was crossing them when we were in the other room? First, he meant the shoes that are too tight to walk in. My hand is nice like that. If I only had a ring with a stone for my mouth, a nice aquamarine, I'll stick him for one, and a gold bracelet. I don't like my foot so much. Still, I made him spend, once with my foot, the night after Goodwin's botch-up of a concert. So cold and windy, it was well we had that rum in the house to mull. And the fire wasn't blackout when he asked me to take off my stockings, lying on the hearth rug in Lombard Street West. And another time it was my muddy boots he'd like me to walk in, all the horses' dung. But of course, he's not natural like the rest of the world. What did he say? I could give him 9 points in 10 to Katie Lanner and beat her. What does that mean? I asked him. I forget what he said because the stopper edition just passed and the man with the curly hair in the Lucian diary. That's so polite, I think. I saw his face before somewhere. I noticed him when I was tasting the butter, so I took my time. Bartilda Arcee, too, that he used to make fun of when he commenced kissing me on the choir stairs after I sang Gounod's Ave Maria. What were we waiting for? Oh, my heart kissed me straight on the brow and part, which is my brown part. He was pretty hot for all his tinny voice, too. My low notes he was always raving about, if you can believe him. I liked the way he used his mouth singing. Then he wasn't it terrible to do that there. In a place like that, I don't see anything so terrible about it. I'll tell him about that someday, not now, and surprise him and I'll take him there and show him the very place too we did it. So, now there you are, like it or lump it. He thinks nothing can happen without him knowing. He hadn't an idea about my mother till we were engaged, otherwise he'd never have gotten me so cheap as he did. He was 10 times worse himself anyhow, begging me to give him the tiny cut off my drawers. That was the evening, coming along Kenilworth Square, he kissed me in the eye of my glove, and I had to take it off, asking me questions. Is it permitted to inquire the shape of my bedroom? So I let him keep it, as if I could forget it. To think of me when I saw him slip it into his pocket. Of course, he's mad on the subject of drawers. That's plain to be seen. Always skeezing at those brazen faced things on bicycles with their skirts blowing up to their navels. Even when Millie and I were out with him at once in the open air fete, that one in the cream muslin standing right against the sun, so he could see every atom she had on. When he saw me from behind following in the rain, I saw him before he saw me, however, standing at the corner of the Harold's Crossroad with a new raincoat on him, when the muffler and the Zingari colors to show off his complexion, and the brown hat looking sky boots as usual. What was he doing there? We had no business. They can go and get whatever they like from anything at all with a skirt on it. And we're not to ask any questions? But they want to know, where were you? Where were you going? I could feel him coming along, skulking after me, his eyes on my neck. He had been keeping away from the house. He felt it was getting too warm for him. So I half turned and stopped when he pestered me to say yes. till I took off my gloves slowly, watching him. And he said open work sleeves were too cold for the rain. Anything for an excuse to put his hands near my drawers. Drawers the whole blessed time, till I promised to give him the pair off my doll to carry about in his waistcoat pocket. Oh, Maria Santisima! He did look a big fool dripping in the rain. Splendid set of teeth he had, make me hungry to look at them, and beseeched of me to lift the orange petticoat I had on with the sun-ray pleats, that there was nobody, he said he'd kneel down in the wet. If I didn't so preserving, he would too, and ruin his new raincoat. You never know what freak they'd take along. They're so savage for it. If anyone was passing, so I lifted them a bit and touched his trousers outside, the way I used to Gardner after with my ring hand, to keep him from doing worse where it was too public. I was dying to find out, was he circumcised? He was shaking like jelly all over. They want to do everything too quick, take all the pleasure out of it, and father waiting all the time for his dinner. He told me to say I left my purse in the butcher's and I had to go back for it. What a deceiver! Then he wrote me that letter with all those words in it. How could he have the face to face any woman after his company manners making it so awkward? After when we met asking me, have I offended you? With my eyelids down, of course, he saw I wasn't. He had a few brains, not like that other fool, Henry Doyle. He was always breaking or tearing sometimes in the charades. I hate an unlucky man. And if I knew what it meant, of course, I had to say, no form the sake, don't understand you. I said, and it wasn't natural. So it is, of course. It used to be written up with a picture of a woman's on it. On that wall from Gibraltar. With that word I couldn't find anywhere, only for children seeing it too young. Then writing every morning a letter, sometimes twice a day. I liked the way he made love. Then he knew the way to take a woman. When he sent me to the 8 big ponies because mine was the 8th, 8 big poppies, that is. Then I wrote the night he kissed my heart at Dolphin's Barn. I couldn't describe it. It simply makes you feel like nothing on earth. But he never knew how to embrace well like Gardner. I hope he'll come on Monday.